Hello, everybody. This is Graham Nolan, your ray of sunshine in what appears to be a dark world. Today, I'm going to talk about things that I love. We have so much negativity that's spit out at us by the media and social media as well, and we're all guilty of tapping into it and sharing that negativity. I thought maybe it would be fun just to talk about things that I love. And we'll get into it with the chat room too and see what they love. But I'm just sick of it personally. I'm just sick of all the nonsense that goes on, and particularly social media. It's gotten pervasive, and I think all it does is keeping people in a state of agita and fear, and that's no way to live a life. So let's begin by saying hello to the chat room. Let's see who's here today. Oh, Hyper Kaiju, Prater 7, hello. Man of War 665, Neighbor of the Beast. Joe Ketterer is here. Val Schnitzel, hello. AJ Tom, Statistical Zero. Well, he was here. He had to pop in for a moment. He's got to get back to work, but he's going to catch the replay. Okay, Stat, I appreciate that. Prater 7, did I say him? Mikra is here. Hello, hello. Wolverine is here. Elwin Manzi. Hello, Elwin. It's good to see you, sir. You're on Texas time. So what is that? Is that 2 hours back? You must be on lunch hour. Super Jerry 27 is here. Cool. Well, we got a nice group to start off our positive thinking show, if you will. So I mean, the first one, the first few are going to be the biggies. You know, the things that it's hard not to say you don't love. I have to start with God. You know, without Him, without the creation, without the gifts You've given me, I couldn't be a happy person. And I'm thankful for Him. My wife, Julia, whom we've been married 35 years in November. Or is that? No, 36 years. Let's see, 36 years. I'm going to catch some hell for that one. 36 years in November. She's just the love of my life, my best friend. And she's been there through the ups and the downs. And she's a rock. My kids, I have 3 beautiful daughters. They're doing great. They're, going on with their world, their lives. 2 of them are engaged now. One is getting married in October. The other is in September of next year. So I'm grateful for that. And I love them dearly. My friends, I have a lot of friends. I mean, a lot of people have acquaintances, and I have plenty of those too. But I have a core group of friends that I've known for most of my life that we're still in touch with. We still hang out. Most of them live in Florida, but we're constantly in contact with each other. Those guys is what we call our group, and they're like brothers to me. They say if you have 2 good friends in your lifetime, you're a lucky man, and I've got 5. So I'm doubly blessed. I love my country. I love the United States. I love that this country allows me to pursue my happiness. They guarantee the pursuit of my happiness in the Constitution. There's no guarantee I'll get it, but there's nobody stopping me from pursuing it. And we get ragged on a lot, particularly, by people in our own country who don't seem to understand the history. And so I want to just say that if there's a better place, I don't know where it is. And I've traveled around the world. This is a great country to make your dreams come true. I love dogs. I just love dogs. They're unconditional with their love. Once they bond with you, They're family members. We've had basset hounds all my life and in our married life too. Our current basset is Pumpkin, and many of you in the stream know her because she she makes appearances every now and then. She's a cutie. She's a sweetheart, um, and she's fun. It keeps me company during the day because I work here. I work at home. I love the ocean. I grew up as a beach boy. I grew up the first part of my childhood on Long Island in Long Beach, where we were 3 blocks from the ocean. Um, and it was a barrier island, so there was only, I think the widest part was a mile between the Atlantic Ocean and Reynolds Channel, which separates the mainland in the southern part of Long Island. And then we moved to Florida, and I lived on a barrier island there in Indian Harbor Beach. And I was about maybe 5 blocks from the ocean there. I could ride my bike. So I spent a good part of my youth on the beach in the salt water. And to me, that is my refuge. When I need to power down and chill, I seek out the water. I was born in March, so I'm a Pisces. So go figure. The guy likes water. Flip-flops. Love them. That's for you, Greg, right? He always busts on me because of my love of flip-flops. They're the perfect footwear. Nothing's more comfortable. I can walk through New York City in them, or I can go to the beach in them. Love them. Sunshine. They tell you sunshine's bad for you. Like we're supposed to be mushrooms, living in caves or something like that. But we were created on this planet. We were evolved on this planet and in the sunshine and stuff. So there's a lot of benefits from getting fresh air and sunshine. Don't burn. Don't go out and spend too much time, but get out there and soak up that vitamin D. It's so invigorating, and particularly if you live in a northern city like where I currently live, just outside of Buffalo. We have a good 6 to 8 months of cold. And in the wintertime, there's a lot of gray, so you don't get that sun. So when there are those days of sunshine, man, I like to get out there. Fishing. As any of you that have followed me on Facebook know, I love fishing. You see my pictures every spring when I'm down at the creek casting away for bass. That's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work though. It's hard on the feet because you got to hike down into the valley where the creek is, and then you're walking over rocks and stones and the moving creek and stuff like that. So it gets a little tough on the joints sometimes. But once the bass head out into the lake, then I go out to Lake Erie and fish out there. One of these days, I got to get my boat back. I had a boat years ago, and I sold it when the kids were young because they were just too small. They weren't enjoying it, and it was just sucking up money. So I gotta get back into that. Get back in getting one so that when it gets warmer, I can get back out on the lake and head to deeper waters and get the fish because they're avoiding me when it gets hot. Weightlifting. I've enjoyed that all my life. Since high school, we had to take, I was a wrestler in high school. I had to take advanced weightlifting as part of our training and was introduced into it and the precepts that went along with it. A lot of that stuff that we learned back then, science has proven not exactly the best way to go about it. So I wish I knew then what I know now. But it really is the fountain of youth. It keeps your body strong, it keeps your joints strong, it keeps your bone density. And as you age, that's really, really important. And I'm getting up there. I'll be 60 in March. So staying in shape, eating right, and lifting is part of my lifestyle, and I love it. Reading. I love to read. The problem for me is that because of what I do, my eyes are shot by the end of the day. So Most of the reading I get done is during vacation. And I'll take 3 or 4 books with me. And a vacation for me is at the beach, sitting in a lounge chair with a cooler of beer and a good book. That's all I need to power down. I love to read. I love fiction. I love reading history too. It depends on the mood I'm in. Right now, I'm reading one piece of fiction, The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. And I'm also reading Carrying the Fire by Michael Collins, who was a test pilot, Gemini and Apollo astronaut, and was the command module pilot for Apollo 11 that brought Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin to the moon in 1969. Fascinating book. But I wish I had more time to read. It's so slow for me because my eyes get so tired, because I'm staring at screens, I'm staring at boards, and my eyes are just wiped out by the end of the day. So I wish I had more time for it because I really do love it. And that dovetails into learning. I love to learn new things. I like to keep my mind active and to pick up new skills or learn about something, particularly in history, that I didn't know. Well, this one's a no-brainer. Comics. I love comics. I love old comics. I don't like. Oh, there's Pumpkin. Hello, Pumpkin. Oh, you want to come up and say hello to everybody? There you go. Okay, say hello. Say hello. Okay, there she is. Hi, everybody. All right, we had a Pumpkin appearance there, and she slimed my glasses. Okay, where was I? Comics, yes. Loved comics since I was a kid. Since I was really introduced to them. I had them sporadically, picked them up here and there, and parents would give us comics, or we'd find them or trade for them, baseball cards and stuff like that. But I didn't really get into them until my 6th grade teacher brought them in for recess, and that was 1974. And that's when I really locked into comics and really got excited about them and started drawing them and realizing that at 12 years old, this is what I want to do. I want a career doing comics. Monsters. Yeah. I love monsters. Before I loved comics, I loved monsters. I saw Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman when I was 8 years old. My mom let me watch it while she was doing laundry. She had to be in the room just in case I got too scared. And I did get scared. I mean, the Wolfman scared me. I loved Frankenstein. I thought he was, misunderstood, and he was cool. But the Wolfman was creepy because he had that look. He'd do that thing with his eyes. And I thought he was evil. Chaney really pulled it off great. So I was into monsters long before I was into comics, and I still am. And come October 1st, not that far away, my friends, we will begin the 31 Days of Monsters again. Last year I did that as a YouTube video every day. I'd come on in the morning and talk about a different monster movie. Not of them all great. Some of them were just bad movies that are just fun to watch. And I'll try to find new ones this year. I'm starting to make a list of stuff to view and call out so that we can get our 31 days in. So that'll be a lot of fun. Movies in general, I do love the art form of movies. The writing, the way they're filmed, and like any other kind of art form, there's probably more bad than there are good, or mediocre than there are great. But movies are, a thing that I love. And of those movies, it's monsters and westerns that are my favorites. Love westerns. Always have been a John Wayne fan since I was a kid and saw The Sons of Katie Elder with my brother. John Wayne, there's another one that I love. An actor whose screen presence just captured my imagination. And to this day, he's my favorite actor that I love to watch. Westerns. I covered Westerns, didn't I? I did cover Westerns, yep. So let's go on to some of the good stuff here. Craft beer. I do love good craft beer. I'm not a big fan of corporate beer, rice beer, if you will, but I do like good craft beers. I do like IPAs. I like German lagers, pilsners, stouts, brown ales. I don't drink a lot of beer anymore because I started doing a different eating program, going on a keto eating plan, which is low carbohydrates. So I eat more proteins, meats and fats and stuff, and very little carbohydrates. And unfortunately, beer is bread in a can. But the good news is bourbon has no calories. And guess what? I love bourbon. So that's another one. There's nothing like sitting out on a nice summer night. Julie and I, she loves wine. I like wine too, but we'll sit out on the patio or the porch, and she'll have her wine, I'll have her bourbon, and then I'll light up the next one. Cigars. I love a good cigar. There's a saying that you don't have time for cigars, you make time for cigars, because they take a while. And what I find is that they're very relaxing. They offer me, because you got to call out that time, they offer me the ability to just kind of decompress, gather my thoughts. I can sit there and dream, sit there and think about ideas and things that maybe problems that I've got to solve, story problems in something that I'm doing. It gives me the time to just meditate, so to speak. And when you do that with a friend, I belong to a cigar club that a bunch of friends of mine belong to as well. We'll call each other up. Hey, you want to go to the club? And we can sit out there, have a bourbon and a cigar and talk. And it's very relaxing, very fun. I really enjoy that. Seeing new places. I love going to new places, but this one's sort of a half and half, but I hate traveling. Um, I'm waiting for Scotty to come up with the transporter device so that they can just transport me to these places that I want to go. It's such a colossal pain to fly anymore. And I can't drive super long distances. Like 8 hours is my window. But again, because my eyes just tire out too easily. So I'm waiting on you, Mr. Scott. Let's get to it. I need that transporter device. Ribeyes. The steak lover steak. I love a good ribeye. Medium rare. Nice and red, pinkish red in the center. Well seasoned, no nonsense, nothing added to it. Just throw that on a grill, and it's the perfect cut of meat. I love it. Space exploration. I grew up on the Space Coast of Florida. As I mentioned, I grew up down there for a while in Florida, but it's called the Space Coast because it's part of the area that Cape Canaveral is at, and the various corporations like Rockwell and Harris Corps and Morton Thiokol and all these various support industries are in that area. So that's why it's called the Space Coast. So I got to see a lot of rocket launches, Skylab, STS-1. I saw that go up. I have pictures. I have an old contact sheet when I was taking photography of STS-1 sitting on the launch pad, because used to be able to get a lot closer back then. There used to be these, like, not islands, but peninsulas, I guess you will, off of Merritt Island, that you could drive out to. Actually, it had to be further north than Merritt Island. It had to be up closer to Canaveral, because you could see on launch pad 39A, the shuttle sitting right there. It was pretty cool. Art. I love exploring art forms, different kinds of art, and looking at it. Whether it be music, drama, film, comics. These are the things that kind of uh, motivate you, when you're working on your own art. I think it's important to kind of immerse yourself in various things, various different kinds of art forms, because they all can sort of dovetail together. The military. I love the United States military. The men and women that serve this nation need a huge attaboy for what they do and the sacrifices they make. And on that note, I also have to include law enforcement. They've been taking it on the chin over the last couple of years. A couple bad apples have made it uncool to like the police. But, that blue line is what separates civilization from chaos. And, I don't think people understand, how important that is. My family comes from a line of law enforcement. My father was a homicide detective. My uncle was an FBI agent. My grandfather was a chief of police. His brothers were all New York cops. So that line runs deep in our family. My brother's in law enforcement now. He's a psychologist at the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And it's important to recognize their sacrifices as well, and give them a big thumbs up. Let's pop in here and see if anybody's got anything they love or they're saying. AJ Tom says, "This is one of the most inspiring streams I've watched in a long time. I'm going to come back to this again for sure. God bless you, Graham." Well, thank you, AJ Tom. God bless you too, and thanks for tuning in. Sarajo, skirt marinade that cheap meat tastes good. Skirt steak's good. It is. You do got to marinate it. I got a London broil marinating right now, which is basically a top round. And those cheap steaks, those lean steaks, can be very good if you marinate them and cut them thin. Lots of great flavor, but you can't beat a ribeye. I mean, because it's got all that marbled fat in there. It's where all the goodies are. Mark McCann, Graham, thanks for this, man. Positivity is contagious. It's easy to pour the hate on these troubled times. Great to see you doing the opposite. Thank you, Mark. Oh, wait, here we go. Brunswick at Satellite Beach. Lived there a few years when I was in the Air Force. Well, you had to be stationed at Patrick Air Force Base, Bronze Age kid. I went to school with a lot of guys whose dads were at Patrick. In fact, fun story. Years ago, the Air Force Base was open. It wasn't a closed base. And they had a training facility on the base called Survival Area, where they would take the airmen out, and they could do physical training too, but there were also picnic benches and stuff like that. And us high school kids used to go out there and party. We'd get keg parties and stuff in the Survival Area on Patrick Air Force Base. Fun times. Oh, those days are over, man. Those bases are locked up. Kenneth Barone says, "Do you have to be a comic book artist to eat ribeye steaks?" No, you don't. You just have to be a good meat lover, man. AJ Tom mentions the Jeep, and I have to mention that as another thing that I love. I wanted a Jeep since I was a kid, and finally in 2016, I think it was, I got my Jeep Wrangler, stripped down, standard transmission, hand crank windows. The only concessions I made on this were I wanted air conditioning for resale value and satellite radio. Those are the only technical advancements I had in my Jeep, and I love it. I still love it. You know, right now, summertime, I throw the doors off, I take the windows out. I keep the top up to keep the sun out of my eyes, but that's the perfect way to ride. Man, 85 degrees and that air blowing through there, it's fantastic. Go down to the lake, go fishing. That's a great fun day. Long drive in a Jeep isn't fun either. It can be a bit rough after 8 hours. Well, I don't know. The newer Jeeps have different suspension systems. They widened the wheelbase in 2011, and they've made a lot of changes. My Jeep rides really nice. You know, we're we're at a uh, hot dog place that goes out onto a major road, and if anybody is making a left to get out to that road, everybody trying to get out of the parking lot is screwed. It's just backed up. So we were backed up, 6 or 7 cars to get out, and some dude, a couple dudes actually, were going to make left-hand turns. So I said to Julie, I said, well, no point having a Jeep if you can't four-wheel it. So I put it in the four-wheel and I drove over all the parking blocks that separated 2 different parking lots. And I went over that into the next parking lot where there was nobody, went right on out and straight out onto the road. That was fun. Got some side conversations going on here that I don't understand. Okay. Now Bronze Age Kid is bringing negativity into my world here. Rio Bravo. You guys know I hate Rio Bravo, right? Hopefully Graham does them this year for 31 days. Actually, Hyper Kaiju, them, I think it's going to be October 1st. I think it's going to be the first one. I'm going to lead with them. He's talking about 31 Days of Monsters. I love Abbott and Costello Meets Frankenstein. It's one of my top three movies of all time. The others are Thing from Another World and it's a toss-up on the last one. It's either Casablanca or The Quiet Man. So I've got a couple B movies in there and some A-list movies. It's good seeing you at Terrific-Con, Bob. I'm going backwards here just to catch up on people. Aaron Sarg, Pumpkin Stream. Yeah. Everybody's saying pumpkin. Paul Roper has to agree with getting to a gym. Finally started a road back to healthy after having pneumonia. Good. Glad to hear that. Yeah, it's important to, the law of physics is the body in motion stays in motion. And it holds true for us too. Our bodies are so incredibly adaptive, which can work negatively against us too. If all you do is sit, then your body's going to adapt to that, and that ain't good. So you need to challenge it. You need to get out there and get blood moving, even if it's something as simple as walking every day for half an hour. Start that way. Do something. Get your blood moving. Make some choices, some dietary choices. if you need to lose some weight and, do something. You'll appreciate it later as your body begins to adapt to the new loads you put on it. You're going to get healthier and stronger, and you're going to feel a lot better. Sergio Ram, honest question: how do you stay in such great shape just lifting weights? I can do around 100 press ups. I guess that means push ups, right? Um, yeah, primarily, I lift weights 5 days a week. Depending on what programs I want to do. Sometimes I do heavy lifting where the loads are heavy enough that you can only do 3 to 5 reps on it. And those are central nervous system workouts. So you need to have rest days. You can only do, I only do like 3 days a week when I'm doing those kind of programs. If I'm doing splits where I'm doing different body parts that aren't being used the same day, then I'll do a 5 day workout. And that's what I'm doing now. Just lighter weights, a little bit more reps, 8 to 10 reps, something like that. I'm trying not to injure myself. I just came off some really bad shoulder pain that I injured myself about a year ago. It lasted almost a year before it. And I'll tell you, you know what? I was constantly trying to rehab it with light weights and getting blood into it. And what I ended up doing is when I changed my diet to that keto diet, what it does is it lowers inflammation in the body. And once that happened, the pain went away. I was able to sleep at night. It was amazing. And now it's gone. So that's amazing. Thank you, Prater7, for the $5 super chat. Do you prefer freshwater or saltwater fishing? One of my best experiences was deep sea fishing for amberjack. Had to fight for your food. Loved it. Yeah, I like them both. I don't live by saltwater anymore. So I don't get to do it that much. But I do like both. I did a charter for sailfish off the Florida Keys in Isla Morada a few years back, and I caught a bonita, and a shark came up and just tore into my bonita before I could get all of it onto the boat. It was pretty wild. But it looked like something out of Jaws, because like all of a sudden there's this splashing in the water, and then the water turns red and pink, and oh man, it was wild. Jerry Lang. Hey, Jerry. Hey, Graham. Looking forward to getting Alien Alamo. Well, thank you. I'm working diligently on it. I finished another page today, as a matter of fact. Yeah, Hemingway was writing about me. His sail was a patchwork of sackcloth that flew like a flag of permanent defeat. How's that for a quote? Shoulder pain is the worst. You never know how much you screw over your body until you can't put on a shirt or lift a pan to cook because your rotator cuff hates your life. Yeah, I don't think I damaged my rotator cuff. I think it was intramuscular, which is why it ended up getting better. Bob Signal, you were such an inspiration that weekend. I did a last minute from the airline luggage pickup entry of the horror Western pilot script I wrote and we briefly discussed. And now we're a finalist in the Wild Bunch Film Festival at Wilcox, Arizona, held in conjunction with the Rex Allen Days. Well, congratulations, Bob. You're spreading more good news, more happiness here. That's fantastic. Good for you. Hope you guys take number one. I missed Bob's previous post. Thank you for this, Graham. Some great positivity and inspiration. Terrific con was a blast. I'm so fortunate to have been able to spend a little time with you and Billy Tucci. We'll have to do that interview some other time. You were happy to spend time with Billy Tucci? Come on. That was Jerry Tucci that was there. I just got off the phone with Billy just before I went on the air here. He's having some printing issues. Oh, Henry Bemis says Them was one of his dad's favorite movies when he was a kid in the 50s. I've seen dozens of times. Love that flick. You know, the great ones hold up. That's the thing. The great movies you can watch over and over. I can watch The Thing from Another World anytime it comes on. It's one of those movies. I don't. It doesn't matter the time of year. If that movie's on and I come across it, I'll sit and watch it. It's just so much fun, and it's a B movie, but it's sincere, and that's what I like about it. John Kindle in. Artists are the ones who can shine a light on the world and show it for what it is. There's also so much negativity out there being shouted by a loud but small group of people. There are more of us with common sense who believe in the good of everyone. Thank you for turning on the light and being a positive voice for good. All that is required for evil to prevail is for good men to do nothing. Well, that's very true, John. It is, and it's up to us to spread the love. Joe Bernardo, God bless you, Graham. I love this country. I believe in the American dream. I bleed red, white, and blue. I love the freedom that the armed forces provides us. Pieces to pieces. God, Star Trek, comics. Whoa, how did I miss that one? In my list of things, I didn't say Star Trek. Oh my God. I got distracted when I was making my list here. And, because the clock was ticking, I had to get on here. But I can't believe that I hadn't said Star Trek yet. So let's do that. I love Star Trek. And when I'm talking about Star Trek, I'm talking about the original series. Because for me, it's just like anything. If it hangs around too long, it gets watered down. It becomes something else. The original Star Trek series, and I also include the animated series because many of those episodes were written by the writers of the original live action television show. So that really carries on, and they're all voiced by all the original guys too, and girls. So those two to me are the real deal, the real Star Trek. When by the time the Next Generation came, Roddenberry's worldview had changed much more. So he tended to lean left, but he leaned hard into left, and he leaned so far in that he was trying to create like this utopian world in Star Trek, and the writers were finding, well, in this utopian world, there's no conflict. If there's no conflict, there's no drama, and they're having to kind of circumvent him. And clearly, in the first two seasons, that's very evident. Picard surrenders the ship like 2 or 3 times in that time. I mean, Kirk would have blown it up. They got better, but they were very preachy. A little over. And the other Star Trek, which I also really like, I should say, is Enterprise. I thought Enterprise really captured that adventurous feeling, that Western feel of Star Trek. So those are the 3 that I really like the best. Can't believe I didn't mention Star Trek. What an idiot. No, Henry Bemis has a 2004 Jeep Wrangler. I take it from Oregon to LA twice a year, so 800 miles. Takes 12 to 14 hours. I don't mind it. Cool. Yeah, I took mine out to Connecticut. That was a 7.5 hour drive. No worries. Any thoughts on the new full-size Broncos? Well, since this is a show about positivity, I'm not going to say anything about the Broncos. Ah, Bronze Age kid. Yeah, he worked at the medical clinic. I'm Patrick. Now, did you ever party out in survival area? That's the thing. Eric the Guapo. My great grandfather worked with Elliot Ness to take down Al Capone. Angus Hugh McIntyre. Very cool. Hyper Kaiju is thankful for Chuck Dixon. Well, so am I. So, Bernardo, Graham, I want to say, Pisces to Pisces, do you think that William Shatner changes Captain Kirk to start acting like Shatner from the point of double dumbass on you? Oh, um, no, I don't think that any of the characters were well represented in any of the movies. I did a post about this recently that, you know, as hard a pill as it is to swallow, Star Trek the motion picture, as boring as that may be, is the most Star Trek of all of them. Then they went hard into space fantasy to keep up with Star Wars, and they lost the science fiction element of um, of Star Trek. Science fiction, that's another thing that I enjoy. I don't read a lot of science fiction, but I do like to watch science fiction movies. Uh, old science fiction writers I tend to enjoy, because again, you know, they seem to be leaning more into science and possibilities, with science as the basis for them in the old books. One of the things that I was lucky enough to do when I was in high school is as an English course, I was able to take. It was a double course. So the first semester was science fiction literature, or no, mystery literature, and the second semester was science fiction literature. So I got to read and learn about mystery writing, and you know how it came about. The first acknowledged mystery story is Edgar Allan Poe's um, "Murders in the Rue Morgue," and then I got to read um, Arthur C. Clarke and Ray Bradbury, and get exposed to their books. So I thought that was a cool opportunity in high school. This is interesting. Roddenberry supposedly hated Wrath of Khan. Hmm. I can see why. I can see why. There's a lot about that movie that I don't like. Past Master Dan is thankful that Cecil doesn't write westerns. Well, that's proof there is a God. Geez, Graham, did you bring enough muscles for the rest of the class? Yeah, I brought enough for everybody. Oh, Prater 7 loves Star Trek Enterprise. That's cool. So it confirmed that it was Jerry Tucci that trapped you in the elevator at Terrificon? Yeah, it hasn't been proven, but I have my suspicions that Jerry Tucci. Pop Culture Avenger wants to know any estimation on when Manly Tales will launch. Uh, if you guys hadn't heard, I have a anthology book that Compass Comics will be releasing, and it's called Giant Size Two-Fisted Manly Tales. And I've got Chuck Dixon, Mike Barron, Bo Smith, Kevin Grievous, and myself are writing stories for this thing. And it'll be up on Indiegogo, like all my other books. This one's going to be a hardcover collecting what's starting out as 5 10-page stories. And if we hit these stretch goals, the goal is to get it to 100 pages of just, toxic masculinity, celebration of what it is to be a man type stories, bloody knuckle stories, that kind of stuff. And I got some killer artists lined up to do stories for it. So to answer the question, I'm going to be putting up a mailing list for people to sign up in September. And depending on how far along I am on Alien Alamo, because I don't want to launch the other book until I know exactly when Alien Alamo will fulfill, because I owe it to all those backers to make sure that that's my priority, and it is. So, but I'll start the mailing list, and you guys will start getting teasers about it and everything like that. And I'm hoping to be able to launch it in December. If not, it'll probably be January. But it'll be so hot it'll melt the snow in January. So that probably is a good thing. Maybe I should do it in January. Melt all the snow with this toxic masculinity. Pumpkin is awesome. You must not have been here when she popped in earlier. Yeah, she said hello to the group. Let's see. Eric, the Guapo, I switched up my workout routine based off some advice you have. I used to run 3 miles before I lifted. Now I lift first and run after. Excellent. I was able to increase my bench 50 pounds in a month. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, the reason is the glycogen that's in your stores there, you want to use that to push the weights. And then anything that's left over, you can run that off, and then you'll start burning fat too once the glycogen stores are burned up. So yeah, you want to keep all that energy for increasing muscle mass and building lean muscle fiber. Joe Ketterer says, yes, let's discuss the Two-Fisted Tales project. Well, I think we covered that one. Let's see. What else? I know. What else have I forgotten to mention that I love? Jay Dredd says he'd back that anthology in the blink of an eye. Excellent. Will you run the Two-Fisted Manly Tales campaign in conjunction with the Ghosts of Matakumba Key, or will you fulfill Manly Tales first? I think I'm going to run them in conjunction with each other because for the Manly Tales book, I'm just writing one story or possibly 2, depending on if we expand it to 100 pages. Then each of the writers will write 2 stories, and then I'll be packaging it and promoting it and all that other stuff. Ghost of Matakumba Key is all me, so I'll have to see. I'll have to see how much is done on the Manly Tales book first. Because what I really like to do is get at least half that done before we launch it so that we can fulfill it really quickly. So we shall see. John Batten, do I like Space 1999? I want to like Space 1999. Some of them are a tough slog, though. I love the concept. It's very English. It's very English, 70s English TV, where the pacing is very slow on all their television shows, particularly from that era. At least the ones I've seen, So I don't love Space 1999, so it's not on my list. Yes, Roy Crane. I love Roy Crane. The father of the adventure strip. Roy Crane. I came to Roy later in my career, and discovered his work, and then just started to devour it and deconstruct it and see all the great things that this guy had done. And he's, him and E.C. Segar, the creator of Popeye, are probably my two favorite strip cartoonists ever. Love those guys. Alame, I love history. It informs and guides us in the present if we're smart enough to listen to its lessons. Here, here. The artists you announced for Manly Tales sound amazing. Can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be great. Joe Bernardo is thankful for Comicsgate and creators who care for their fans. Yeah, I'm thankful for it too. I'm thankful that there's other people out there, and that feel the same way. That they're tired of being preached to. They're tired of having characters that they grew up loving become unrecognizable. And so, some of us has decided, well, we're going to take a positive step and not go into that cesspool, and create the comics that we love, because we're doing it out of love, not because of need. Some folks do it because they got to have that paycheck. Well, I was there too. I needed a paycheck, but at some point you got to cut the cord and say, well, okay, this is more important. And in the end, this risk will pay off for me because it's coming from a true space, a true place. And so, when I did that and I found other people believe the same, particularly fans, backers, the people that actually put their money where their mouth is, and they say, you know what, I believe in this guy and I believe in this project, and they back it. And to me, those guys are heroes. They are the ones that are making comics great again, is because they allow us to do it. They put the trust in us. We're almost like, we're the standard bearers for them, to create the comics that they loved. And I can't thank all of you guys who have backed the Shinu and Alien Alamo and my future projects, Giant Size Two-Fisted Manly Tales and the Ghosts of Matakumba Key. I can't thank you guys enough for that. That's my brother. Just tried to call and realized you're yapping with these mugs. That's right. It's just a little conversation I'm having. Sharing my positivity. Oh, interesting. Gene disliked Wrath of Khan being so much more military-like. He was able to keep Mayer to have Meyer rather, to have the characters salute each other. Yeah, Meyer went too hard on that, and in his later film, even more so. And the galley, you ever see a galley on an aircraft carrier? Well, the Enterprise is like a space aircraft carrier, and it had a galley that a Holiday Inn might use. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Star Trek movies. I watch them, just because they are Star Trek. But it's like I have to disengage from it, that it's not really Star Trek. I don't think a lot of the pros or new ones at least have principles to take a stand on. Well, I think they do. Theirs just might be different. Hey, Graham, is your Jeep named Nellie Bell? No, my Jeep is named Eugene, named after E.C. Segar's Eugene the Jeep. Do I like Lost in Space? I liked the black and white Lost in Space before they went all um, pop art with the color and the goofy stories and stuff. But the first black and white season one was terrific. The effects were really great. Dr. Smith was a true bad guy. Um, yeah, I like that first season of Lost in Space, and then they jumped the carrot people very very quickly. Are you into music? Or are you a music fan, Graham? If so, what music do you dig? I love all kinds of music. I really do. I can go from a hard rock, AC/DC, Van Halen, uh, to Frank Sinatra and the Standards, Dinah Washington. Um, More modern guys like Rick Braun doing jazz. Um, I also like country. I love Alan Jackson and George Strait. Um, Jimmy Buffett, obviously. Florida, Beach Boy. Go figure. Um, but yeah, I have a lot of I love 80s music, 70s and 80s music. I love disco music. I loved the music of the Bee Gees and that stuff. It was great. So I'm all over the place. Not a big rap fan though. No, no, not a Megadeth fan. That's a little too hard for me. I knew that would be your answer on Liss. I could have won money. Oh, Liss. What is Liss? Uh, hmm. Oh, Lost in Space. Gotcha. I had to go backwards and figure out what the hell is Liss. I'm thankful for this positive stream. Are you a fan of Creature of the Black Lagoon? Yes. How about Tombstone? Yes. How about Silverado? Yes. How about the Beach Boys? No. So you got me 1, 2, 3, 3 out of 4. Oh, NGR Comics. Um, Talked a little bit about that earlier in the stream. It's called The Ghosts of Matakumba Key. And it takes place in the Florida Keys, Matakumba being one of the middle keys. In fact, it was the. Did you ever see Key Largo with Humphrey Bogart? One of the backstories in there is they talk about as they're all holed up in this hotel as this hurricane is barreling down. They're holed up with these gangsters. They talk about the hurricane of 1935, which hit Matacumba Key. And it's the most powerful hurricane to ever hit the United States. It's not the biggest death toll, and it's not the most expensive one. The biggest death toll was Galveston, Texas, and about I think 20,000. Was it 20,000 or 2,000? I can't remember. People lost their lives in that one. Most expensive one was Andrew, that hit north of Miami in Homestead. But the most powerful storm to ever hit the United States was the storm of 1935, and they didn't have names for it then. And it knocked a train off its tracks. It had sustained winds of over 200 miles an hour. Sustained winds. I mean, Andrew was a Category 5 that hit Florida in the early 90s had sustained winds of 150. This was 200 miles an hour. That's tornado, but it's a hurricane. Anybody caught out in that had their face sandblasted off, because it would pick up the sand from the Keys and from the water, and blow that like a sandpaper, and would just blow the skin off of people. Incredible hurricane. I read about it in a great book called The Last Train to Paradise, which is about Flagler and him building the railroad through Florida to Key West, which is what his goal was. It was an engineering feat, and that's a whole nother story. But I became aware of this hurricane, and so that backstory of that hurricane is going to be the main backstory of the Ghosts of Matakumba Key. NGRX, have a beer tomorrow during Fred's visit. Well, I thank you for the $10, NGRX, NRG Comics. Have a beer tomorrow during Fred's visit. I'm at a loss there. Fred? Who's Fred? I must be missing something. Graham, do you like the Unforgiven movie with Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, Gene Hackman, someone else? Yes, I do love that movie. I love Gene Hackman in that movie. He steals it. So great. For anyone who likes these kind of movies, and if you don't watch Professionals, you should watch the episode where they talk about movies like Key Largo. It was the past couple months. Yeah, we were listing like favorite movies. Of course, I've seen The Fighting 69th with James Cagney. Plunkett was the character's name. He was a coward until the end. Well, up until the end. Tropical Storm Fred. Thank you. I needed some. Well, Todd says it's Hurricane Fred, but NRG says it's Tropical Storm. Oh, that Val documentary? I just watched it yesterday. Whew. They're talking about the documentary that Val Kilmer made called Val. Evidently, he had one of those early. He was one of those early video recorders, who recorded everything, including backstage stuff on films he was in, and rehearsals and all that kind of stuff. But it's hard to watch because he had throat cancer a few years back, and he's got one of those plugs here. He's got to plug it up, and his voice is like this. It's really sad. He says he's healthy, he feels good and everything. He just sounds worse than he feels. But the crazy thing is his son did the voiceovers for him. So, and his son sounds exactly like him. I mean, when he introduces himself, he says, "Hi, I'm Val Kilmer. I'm an actor, and I recently had throat cancer." I'm like, "Wow, really? I can't believe it. Doesn't even sound like you've had throat cancer." And then they cut to him today, and he's like that. And then you see the son in the recording studio, with the microphone and talking the stuff that he's written, the narration, basically. It's amazing. It's definitely worth a watch, but it's sad. I'm too old for the video game revolution, Val. My video games were asteroids. So yeah, it's just not my thing. Oh, and by the way, in our Comics, I live outside of Buffalo, so Fred, Not going to bother me in the least. But I'll have that beer. Or if you don't mind, I'll have the bourbon because I'm doing the keto. So I'll transfer that to a bourbon. But thank you. Graham, what is your opinion of the 1957 monster movie, The Giant Claw? Oof. It's a B movie. That's all I can say about it. It's a C movie. That's all it's a D movie. All right. Well, gang, I have some Alien Alamo pages I got to work on. So I want to thank everybody for joining me in this celebration of positivity, and go out there and share it with everybody around you. Don't let the media beat you down. As John Wayne once said to Barbara Walters, don't let the bastards get you down. You guys be the bulwark and lift everybody up. Remember, a rising tide lifts all boats. So let's raise that tide up. Stay positive. Remember the things you love, and try not to think of the things you hate. And thanks for tuning in. Wednesday for the storytellers. I think I'm going to do a solo show there too, because I want to talk about something called the creative shelf life. If you're a creator, writer, artist, musician, whatever, I'm sure you've heard the term creative shelf life. So I'm going to talk about what that is and how you as a creative can avoid it. So that'll be Wednesday at 8 o'clock, the usual storytellers time. The professionals on Thursdays on Aaron's channel. So don't miss that. Aaron does great game shows. And I think he's got another game show set up for us too. So that should be a lot of fun. If you haven't backed Alien Alamo, I will put it in the comments section here, the link. So I pray that you will go there and take a look at it, and we'll decide to back it. I got some awesome shirts and other goodies in there too. But more importantly, back the book so you get the book. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you Wednesday. Bye-bye.